Yet another hotel room interview. We're here in Las Vegas. Vegas, baby.
Vegas, baby, yes.
Woo. And I'm sitting next to Gary Hockin, and we're in the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, where ZenCon is at, and I have this opportunity to chat with this nice gentleman.
Thank you.
I won't introduce him. He's all and wise enough to do that himself. So, Gary,
yes.
It's all yours.
My name's Gary Hockin. I'm employee of JetBrains. I work on the PHPStorm IDE as a developer evangelist, which basically means I write blog posts and record screencasts and speak at conferences and meet the people who use our products. So,
awesome. So what's the product?
PHPStorm.
Well, everyone knows the product, right?
Yeah.
But still, we need to mention, what's the product? PHPStorm.
PHPStorm, yeah. It's a fully fledged IDE for developing PHP applications. So, yeah, I think it speaks for itself. A lot of people I know in and around the community use PHPStorm quite a lot. So, it's a pleasure to work for, on that product and in that company.
Indeed, I use it myself, and we had the luck of partnering up with JetBrains. Yeah. So JetBrains has been a loyal sponsor of PHP Benelux, and for every meetup we organize, for every 25 people, we can hand out a free license for PHPStorm. So that has been a big deal to us.
And that's any user group. So any user group who has 25 or more attending can apply to the user group program and get some free licenses to give away themselves.
What would you think the selling factor is of JetBrains as opposed to other IDEs out there? Because personally, I started out with Zen Studio, and then I played a bit with NetBeans, but now I ended up with JetBrains PHPStorm for a while, and I like it.
Yeah.
And again, this is not me trying to do a commercial pitch here with Gary. That is not the point. We're talking about solid technology that people use, and then again, as the man tells us himself, he and his team are handing out licenses for user groups. So again, this is not a commercial.
No, I mean,
it's a good product, and why would you say it is as good as it is?
I guess, firstly, I was using the product myself before I went to work for JetBrains, so I believe, I paid my own money to use the product for however many years. I guess we're all lazy developers, right? We don't want to be kind of banging out the same code over and over again.
And a good developer is a lazy developer.
I think you're right, yes. But there's just so many built-in tools to help you catch a lot of errors before you even run your tests, or to help you to refactor without you having to copy and paste code yourself. The built-in integration with the tools that people are using day to day is fantastic.
So if we would have to name 3 tools that are well supported, that are of crucial importance to the community,
that's a good question. PHP Unit, firstly.
PHP Unit,
it's got fantastic test running integration, and PHP Unit 5 actually has a specific test runner for PHPStorm now. So you'll get even more information in the IDE from using PHP Unit 5 and PHPStorm. So that's definitely one.
Excellent.
2, Composer.
Definitely. That's one of the big changes in the PHP community the last couple of years.
Absolutely. The keynote today, there's a shout out from Andy about Composer. So the Composer integration allows you to search for packages and include packages in your composer.json right from inside the IDE. So that's pretty cool. And I guess Vagrant is the other one.
Vagrant. Yeah. And how does Vagrant integrate with... for those who don't know Vagrant is I would call it the virtualization helper. It helps you to create VMs according to the spec you've defined. So if you're working on a Symfony or a Zen framework application, you're going to install a Linux-based operating system. You're going to put either an Apache or an Nginx on it, PHP runtime, a database. Yeah. So it's actually a helper software that you can programmatically run. So you run a script and then it installs that machine accordingly. So that's Vagrant, just for reference.
You can bring your virtual machines from Vagrant right up and down from inside the IDE. Some of the other things, it's got a command line tool right there inside the IDE. So the idea is that you shouldn't need to leave the IDE as much as possible when you're actually developing. I have to say I don't use all of those particular built-in things myself. I still like to run my command line from my command line, but it's there, and I know tons of people who do 90% or more of their day-to-day development without ever kind of getting out of the IDE.
Indeed. So first of all, it's efficient. You don't have to switch context.
No, you don't. No.
And then again, if you are a developer who is not all that familiar with the sysadmin stuff and command line,
it's there. It sounds like a sales pitch now, but
it is not. It is not a sales pitch.
Genuinely, these things I use, the refactoring tools I use nearly daily when I'm coding, and a lot of the things like the code completion, and it really understands PHP rather than it being a plug-in for some other piece of software which maybe doesn't have the understanding of PHP that PHPStorm does.
Let's talk about your role there, because I think that's as interesting as the product itself.
It is, yes. I think this is my 4th month.
4th month already?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, it's gone really quickly. So
how did you end up at JetBrains?
I've been looking for my title, which is developer advocate, is like really horrible title, I think.
I have the same kind of job. I call it evangelist, which is even more weird, especially when you talk to people who are not in the IT. Who are not in IT, they think you're a religious fanatic.
That's right. I mean, I see my developer advocate. I'm the advocate of the developer community inside of JetBrains, rather than me being an advocate of the product of the community. I guess my role is to speak to people, to find out how people are using the product, if they've got problems, what we can do to help. Write blog posts about new features and some more of that kind of tech authorship, and screencasts, and just basically come to conferences and speak and meet the customers and speak to the community about what we're doing well and what we could be doing better.
You told me yesterday that a big part of your job is just working from home.
Yes.
So it's mostly writing blog posts, those sorts of things?
Yeah, I do mainly tickets to write blog posts, to make sure that people understand what new features are coming out in the new versions, record screencasts, that kind of thing, when I'm at home. And then obviously when I'm at events, I'm speaking or just meeting people and having conversations.
Manning the booth?
Manning the booth, yes. If we're sponsoring, I man the booth.
It's a big responsibility, that.
I quite like it, I only did my first booth at PHP Northwest.
Yeah, I was there. I saw you.
Yeah. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. You'd be amazed how tiring a man in a booth can be. It's like a really, really tiring job.
Yeah. But I've done it before.
Yeah. I loved it. I really did love it. Yeah.
Cool. Now, not all of it happens at home. You have to be on the road.
Yes.
Quite a lot. Is that an understatement?
Yeah, it's kind of started ramping up because obviously I've only been there for 4 months. So the CFPs that were open, when I started there, I've submitted to a lot. So I didn't submit to a lot of the autumn conferences because I wasn't working for JetBrains at the time. But now it's really ramping up. So I guess I'll be somewhere at least once a month, if not twice a month. Most months now.
And do you have a specific area you focus on, or is it globally?
I'm pretty much global, which is really cool.
It's cool.
In some ways, and really,
in other ways,
really tiring in other ways.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'll focus mainly on Europe, European conferences. But I tend to go to more of the community conferences. So I'm here at ZenCon as a speaker. JetBrains still pay me to be here, but I'm not here in any real commercial capacity. Obviously, if people want to come and talk to me about the product, I absolutely will. I love doing it. So, that's not too bad. But when I'll be doing the booth duties and the sponsorship duties, I guess it'll be mainly the European conferences or the community conferences, Midwest, PHP, Benelux.
Let's list some of those. So, if you talk about community conferences in Europe, what are we talking about?
PHP Northwest and Benelux, obviously, as I'm sitting right next to you. No, they're the big two in my mind, But anything really, I heard really good things about the Bulgarian PHP conference.
I heard good things too.
Just finished.
First edition, I guess.
First edition, but they had an amazing lineup, and we didn't. I don't think we supported them. I don't want to say that for 100%, but I don't think we sponsored. But I think we'd definitely be interested next year.
There you go.
And let me think. What other European conferences?
PHP UK.
PHP UK for sure.
London. Yeah. That's February.
That is. Yeah.
What else have we got? DPC.
Yeah, I don't know whether I would lump DPC in the kind of ZenCon, more of a commercial conference. I've only been a couple of times, but
I've been to nearly all of them.
Yeah.
I only skipped one, and although it's organized by a company, iBuildings in this case, it is not a commercial conference. They're not promoting their services. They're not doing any sponsored keynotes. It's just a company organizing.
Yeah, I guess my feel was that the talks, like at ZenCon and maybe like at PHP Tech and PHP World, are more enterprise, which is a horrible word, but more kind of technical and training related talks, and less kind of soft skills community type talks, which is the only reason I love that conference. And it's one of my favourites, and because you meet great people, it's in a good city, you know, and you have a great time.
Absolutely.
But I just feel like it has more of a professional feel, if that's not insulting to the other conferences.
No,
you know?
and it shouldn't be an insulting thing, because that's a good way to get people on board. Because I remember my very first conference was International PHP Conference in Frankfurt back in 2007, and that was a very training/business oriented event.
Yeah.
But it got me in the community.
Yeah.
And here I am now.
You know, you would definitely say this conference, ZenCon, is one of the most kind of commercial, business-oriented conferences there.
Because there's a keynote where they pitch a lot of products.
And if not the most commercial PHP conference, I don't know, but there's still amazing community events. You know, we're still sat here recording video podcasts, and there's loads of community things going on, but that's kind of outside of the conference rather than part of the conference.
Definitely.
You know, conferences like Benelux, where the community events are very much part of the focus of the conference rather than something people organise themselves.
Indeed. But the cool thing is, and I'm not sure if it applies to you, whenever I travel to the US, to conferences, I meet my US contacts. And it's like a way to do it, because not all of them travel over to Europe.
Yes. Yeah. There's definitely people I only meet when I come to the US. And people I only meet when I'm in EU, you know, so I would recommend coming, you know, maybe Sunshine PHP, which is another fantastic conference
that's
in
a really
February.
good one. Really
so
good one.
Definitely recommend getting over here if you can. But yeah, it's a long trip, and it's a lot of money. So
how do you cope, and how does your family cope with you being on the road that much? Like, I have a family. Yeah. It's not always easy.
It's difficult. My wife kind of understands that the more I'm involved in the community, the more conferences I go to, the more money I earn, which is a total stark fact. As people don't tend to like to talk about salaries and money, but I wouldn't be here, you know, in a job that I love, earning a decent amount of money if I hadn't come to all these conferences over the years. It's an investment in your career, right?
Indeed, because that's like, community is not all about. It's about giving, okay?
Yeah.
And I like to give to the community as well, but every now and then you can take something.
Of course you can.
And, it's not really taking.
No,
you get an opportunity and you accept that.
I agree. It's only been like 5 years or something since I was doing a badly paid job I hated before I even knew this community existed. It's been that quick for me between getting involved to, you know, attending my first conference, which was PHP Northwest, and then
back in which year?
Do you know what? It wouldn't be that long ago. 2012 maybe.
Cool.
Or 2012, I think.
I was there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 2012. It was the year where they were in a different venue than normal, but I think it was 2012. And then speaking at my first conference, which was ZenCon, believe it or not, 2013.
Whoa, that's a big one.
But obviously I was involved in the Zen framework community anyway, and I'd done a few screencasts for the Zen program at the time they had, where they would do regular screencasts with community contributors. And I think that the Zen guys do like to kind of give back to the people who contribute and to help them out with their open source offerings. So I can only imagine that's why they took a gamble and flew me over to Santa Clara. But that was amazing, and that was only 2013. So
yeah, it's been going really quickly for you the last couple of years.
It definitely has. Yeah, I'm so grateful, to people like yourself and the people I've met in the community who've people are happy to give you a leg up. It's a fact.
Definitely. I consider it one of my personal responsibilities, and one of the responsibilities of our user group, PHP Benelux, is to help out people who have speaker ambitions, because it's not always that easy. I used to be frustrated myself that I never got into conferences.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I did, and then it was up to me to prove that I was worth it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And now I've almost done 135 talks over.
Wow, that is impressive.
A serious amount of years.
That is impressive, though.
But I'm like you say, I am still grateful for being allowed to come here, and to get it back on topic on the travel. This is cool. We're here in Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is some people hate it, but it has some nice aspects to it. But then again, there's people sitting at home waiting for us.
It's difficult.
Children.
Yeah, I just came off the phone to my wife and kids, and I had a tear. It's really difficult.
And the time zone difference. Yeah. It's 8 hours for you.
8 hours
for me. It's 9.
So I had to kind of sneak out of the talk because I knew there was a time between 6 and 7 p.m. UK that I could catch everyone. But let's not. I'm here. I'm blessed to be flying around the world and going to these events, but it is difficult. It's only a week. That's what I think.
But that's the trick. It's only a week, but then again, it's another week.
Yeah.
And another.
The kids, I miss the kids terribly, but they know that when I travel anywhere that's outside of the UK, they get a little gift back, so they're okay with that.
Yeah, well, I'll be doing the very same thing.
My wife's amazing. I absolutely... She knew that I was doing a job I hated for a while, and that doing this travelling earlier on, when I was getting lucky enough to get selected to speak, she was totally behind me. So yeah, she's absolutely fantastic. I couldn't do it without her, obviously.
And there's many parts that come into play. Of course, you have your family that completely understands what you do. You have your employer that completely understands what you do. But then you have other people, like friends who are not in IT, who only see the nice parts of it. Like,
of course.
We're sitting in restaurants, sitting in bars, chatting to people, we're in planes, nice hotels. In the evening, in this case, we can go out to the strip, see what's happening.
Yeah.
And people think that that's all that there's to it.
Of course they do, yeah.
The only thing that is difficult to deny is I can't say I'm not having fun while I'm here. And it's always at a nice location, and there's always fun involved.
But they don't see you when you're awake at like 3 a.m. because you're jet lagged and you can't get to sleep, or they don't see you when you're sat waiting for a long haul flight somewhere and you've had to, you're in economy or whatever and you're sat on a plane for 9 hours. They don't see those parts aren't fun. Let's be honest. But most of it is fun. Don't get me wrong.
But then again, if you do, let's say you do 3 weeks of conferencing, spread over a period of time. Every night there's something happening. Yeah. And if you want to get in touch with the people in the community, you have to be there.
You absolutely do, yes.
But spending 4 nights in a row until 1 or 2 a.m.,
it's
being then at the sessions at 9, it's really hard. And after a while, it's not that we're in our couch watching TV, going to sleep. This is not a 9 to 5 gig.
No. And I'm lucky enough to be in a job where today is Tuesday, so I've been paid a full day's salary for being here today. It's great, but when I was in other jobs and when I'm speaking, you don't get paid, to be at a conference. So when I've been working consultant gigs with Rove or previously, I don't bill hours, I don't get paid. So yeah, it's great, but you don't get paid to speak at these conferences. Yeah. You get some or all of your expenses to be here, your flights and hotel typically covered, but you're not earning. But that's just an investment in my career, because taking those pay, days without pay has meant that I've become someone, a job which I absolutely love. So it's definitely worth it.
Well, for me as well, I had the support of my employer, Combel in this case, for many, many years, and they noticed that it's a long-term investment. And I think JetBrains gets it as well.
They do. Yeah.
Being at this conference, will it make a difference? Maybe it will, but we'll only find out in the end. And that's one of the big topics. I was at a developer relations conference a couple of weeks ago in London.
Yes, I missed it.
One of the big topics is there, how do you measure it? How do you check what your results are? And in your case, it's a bit easier because you sell subscriptions. So if you notice a spike in subscriptions around a certain event, I made an impact there. I work at a managed hosting company.
Yeah.
So in a lot of cases, it's sometimes word of mouth. And people say, well, I spotted Taze there at that event, he was speaking, and that's how you got on my radar. That's a big plus to me.
Totally.
That works.
It's so difficult. I don't think it's actually possible. Somebody could just renew a subscription after a conversation they've had with me, which is a metric that is impossible to measure.
Yeah, and then how much % of that decision was based on the conversation with you?
Totally.
It's a hard... It's still early days for developer relations.
I definitely think so.
I think in the next decade we'll see.
It's a good for me. I tend to trust a company more if I know that they're paying somebody to be developer relations. If they have a developer relations channel, you tend to I'd be more likely to give them my money. That's a fact for me.
For me as well.
Yeah.
But then you have to check if that person who is in charge of that is an actual techie helping out, because that's a position question. And as well, in terms of developer relations, is where do you position the DevRel? Is that part of your marketing team, or is that a separate team? How does that work at JetBrains?
We've got a completely separate team. So we have a team of developer advocates because there's multiple IDs. There's all IDs for all different programming languages. Ruby, Java, C, Python. So we have a team of developer advocates, and we report to a head of developer advocacy, and we are none of us are part of the team that is building and maintaining those products.
Okay.
So we have a completely separate department, which is, I think, the way you should do it. If in this instance where there's multiple developers.
I'm on my own. I'm doing this on my own, and I don't report to marketing either.
No.
I love working with marketing.
Yeah.
I love those guys.
Yeah, no, I do too. Yes.
But their agenda is not always my agenda.
Correct.
And there's a healthy battle going on always.
Yeah.
They want to have good pull quotes and good numbers.
Of course, yeah.
And we just want to make sure that everything we sell is 100% on par with what the product is actually about.
Yeah, I see my job as making sure that the community and even, you know, customers who aren't part of the community are happy. That's what I think is my job. Yeah, blog posts play a part, because if you can't do something and then there's a blog post you find and it tells you how to do it, great, you know, that's a problem solved. So that's where I see my role. I definitely don't try and sell a product ever, if I can help it. If somebody comes to me and says, I use ID X, why should I use PHPStorm? Then I have to kind of answer that question and try my best to kind of make them at least understand what they're missing out on. But I definitely try my best not to sell to anybody ever.
Well, in a developer relations capacity, I try to avoid it. But in a lot of cases, I use the expertise I have to help out pre-sales. And then we're full on commercial.
Of course.
But without actually ignoring the technical truth. Like, I'm all about the technical side, and so are you, obviously. Yes. And you use that to your advantage.
Yes.
Because knowledge sells. People will listen more to a techie than a salesperson in a lot of cases.
They will. I've referred people to our sales team, and that's fine. I'll say, look, I know that obviously as developers we have an innate kind of fear of sales teams.
In a lot of cases,
but I can say, look, I can put you in touch with directly the right person, not a generic sales kind of email address where you know, I can put you directly in somebody who can answer your license.
An account manager.
Yeah, absolutely. Sort of. So it will be personal touch, not this generic kind of approach.
And if that person has been in the company long enough, that person has expertise. We see it. We have people with who have been in the company for 10 years being salespeople, and they know their product pretty well. And a lot of them have a technical degree and switched over to the sales part.
Yeah.
Those are the people you need.
It's all good. My point is that if somebody comes to me with a licensing question, or can I get discount for this many people, I'm like, you know, I can't help you out there, but I can put you directly in touch with the right person. And I think that's a big part of my job is you need to be seen as the person who's approachable. If you know, the reason I say I would use a company who have a developer advocate is because I would know that there's somebody I can always approach, and that's kind of a big thing. Does not have a
real agenda,
because
absolutely.
So a good example would be, you know, DigitalOcean.
Yeah.
I went from not using them to using them for nearly everything for my kind of when I want to spin up a small box or something, because they had such a good presence all of a sudden.
Yeah, Erica,
who's
really good for that. And
just knowing that there's somebody I can tweet at or email or speak to when I see her next makes a huge difference in making a purchase, I think.
But that comes with responsibilities from our end then, because we need to be credible.
Yes.
If we lose credibility,
absolutely. Yes, totally.
We're burnt.
Totally. And one of the reasons that JetBrains pay me to just code for 30% of my week, if there's, you know, some weeks you can't do it, but I'm completely expected to put code on open source or anything that I can do, and obviously not commercial, but any open source project, any sort of things I just want to mess about with, just so that I make sure that I still know the IDE well enough to be able to advocate
Absolutely.
it. Yeah, because
some R&D perhaps.
Well, if I stopped coding using PHPStorm, how can I possibly answer someone's question 6 months down the line?
And even for, like, you need to be in the loop of things that aren't currently in there, but are alive within the community.
Yes.
So you need to do lots of R&D then, I guess. You're reaching 30%?
So they expect me to do 30% just coding.
Yeah.
So I definitely go out and check out the new. Some of that will be me just throwing around PHP 7 because the integrations have been released, you know. And
absolutely.
Some of it will be just coding, literally just taking a ticket in Zen Framework 2 or something and saying, oh, this needs refactoring. Okay, I'll pull that down.
And you do the process and see what the feel is.
And just using the IDE, because if I stop using the IDE, I'm not going to be any value at all.
No.
Just sitting there and actually using it for real tasks is really important. Otherwise, I'll just lose touch.
So Gary, if any of our viewers would like to become or have ambitions to become a developer relations person or a technical evangelist, what skills do they require? So one,
communication.
Communication is key.
That's the first thing.
Two,
you need to have a degree of technical writing skill. For me, I don't know if that's for every job. I guess a lot of developer advocates will do some technical writing, blog posts, etc. So I guess that's pretty important.
and three. Is there a three? I think being technical,
Yes.
it's important.
I think you will find it easier if you're already in the community or blogging about things yourself or speaking about things you believe in than if you're not. I don't think it's impossible to...
So it's actually being able to convey a message or feeling that desire to convey a message.
I think JetBrains hired me because I was already in the community and was already able to meet people and speak to people because I was already a fairly well known, which sounds terrible, but I've spoken to a lot of people at a lot of conferences, so people are happy to come up and approach me, which is a big benefit.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's necessarily a requirement. I just think it's a bonus.
And I hope, sincerely hope that a lot of companies, be it web agencies or product vendors or whatever, assign certain people or a group of people to become developer relations and technical evangelists, because I really believe it is a good way of making sure that you stay in touch with the people who are
Absolutely.
using your project or even not your project, like people who use stuff from other companies.
Yeah, totally.
Just get a feel of what's happening.
I've got people from projects. I've been speaking to the guys, who write PHPSpec, just to see if we can help with some integration with that tool. So it's not just about sort of myself trying to kind of support people with existing features. People come to me and say, "Oh, it would be really cool if PHPStorm could do this
or that."
And that's exactly what the JetBrains want to know. They want to know what the users and the community want from the product, and that's the way they find out, is by people like me, being out there and talking to people.
Absolutely. So if you have any more questions, you would have any more questions about either JetBrains or Zen Framework or being a DevRel.
Yeah, or how if you want to become more involved in community type things, either of us is good as any place to start.
Use our Twitter handles.
Yes. I'm at GWH.
And I'm at Thijs Vriend, and we'll mention those Twitter handles in the show notes.
Cool.
So that's it from Vegas. What do we do tonight?
I think I'm gonna definitely party a little bit. I think, but
just
not too much because I'm gonna
not
talk
because of
tomorrow.
the partying itself, but
no,
because it's an excellent opportunity to.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
That's our excuse. What's yours? Thank you for checking us out, and see you on the next occasion.
Thank you.
Bye.
Very much. Bye.